Today on TimmyTechTV, why I think this isn't really a drone, why the mass media are idiots, and why the FAA is way out of control. Stay tuned. Okay guys, is this a drone? That's the first thing we need to do here. This is Timmy's tirades, guys. I'm totally ripping off Rant 30, but hey, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. And I want a platform to bitch about stuff I don't like, just like I guess everybody else on the internet. Is this a drone? Now, it depends on if you're using like the Webster's dictionary definition or a lot of definitions that you can find online now. So what I've found is the definition has slowly been changing, and it's all one word in the definition that makes the difference. So we all know drones are bees or like a monotonous tone or, you know, stuff like that. But what we care about is an unmanned aircraft or ship that can navigate autonomously without human control or beyond the line of sight. Now, after autonomously in all the definition, there's a comma. That to me means the first part of this has to be autonomous control. It's not a drone if it's not autonomous. That's how I read the definition. Everybody's got a different feeling here. Without human control, that's also autonomous, or beyond the line of sight. Now that's the word "or" that makes all the difference. In some definitions, that's an "and." So it's unmanned, autonomously controlled, and, beyond the line of sight. But this, according to like dictionary.com and a few others that I found, even Wikipedia, which, God knows, don't base anything off of actual Wikipedia data. This is a drone because it does transmit video back to the controller. I could be on, say, one side of my house, fly it over my house, and still be controlling it without being in the direct line of sight. Depending on the definition you use, this is a drone or this isn't a drone. Mass media wants to call everything a drone. Everything's a drone. Everything's a UAV. It's the drone wars. We all need to be scared. Our privacy is going to be invaded because people have remote controlled things that have video cameras on them. By the way, we've been doing this for 20 years. I first put a camera on an RC plane 15 years ago. Now, granted, it didn't transmit back to me, but it sure as hell took video while I was flying around. Just because something can take video doesn't mean your privacy is going to be invaded. Now, like anything, people will abuse these. And recently, there was an incident in downtown Seattle where they were taking some aerial footage of a construction site. Wasn't faced at the building where the woman complained, but it was up near, some people's apartments, taking aerial footage down into like a dugout pit for a construction company. And it was, called the police, like, oh, there's articles everywhere. It made CNN today. And CNN's article was wrong because I heard the first-hand account on the radio, and that was not what CNN published. So CNN actually made it sound worse than it was. This is, in my opinion, not a drone. Now, the FAA wants to ban commercial use of drones.
Let's talk about the FAA destroying the hobby. So the headline here is the Congress destroys a hobby, FAA gets the blame, and what they're talking about here is drones because the FAA has decided to, classify what a hobby is and what a drone is.
So if you can fly it out of visual sight, they want to call that a drone. Now, sure, but that really isn't a drone. It's really just, an RC plane that you can fly further away from you because you can see where it's going out of line of sight. Now, the difference here is I think the FAA could fix this all by limiting the strength of the transmitter. Just because I can fly this over my house and take a picture of the other side of my roof while I'm standing in the backyard and post that to YouTube and monetize it doesn't make me a criminal. Flying it over to somebody's house and peering in their bedroom window does make me a criminal. But let me tell you what, if I went over there and climbed up on their roof and looked in their bedroom window or whatever, or even from across the street in my own house with a telescope, you're still a criminal. You don't need the drone. You still have an invasion of privacy. It's just this one is a lot more faceless, which scares people. So the FAA wants to make this illegal. And why does it want to make this illegal? Because it's scared you're going to have hundreds or thousands of these flying around, get near an airport, and take down a passenger plane. I mean, let's be honest. That is the FAA's main scare. One of these gets sucked into a turboprop, that plane's going down. Or maybe, but very likely. Especially on like landing or approach where these are, would be at a height that the plane could hit them. If one of these went through an engine on a plane on takeoff, maybe they get back turned around. Maybe they don't. Maybe 200 people die because you were stupid in flying a drone or an RC helicopter or an RC plane too close to an airport. Now, the problem I have with all of this is there's already laws that cover everything that they want to cover. You already can't fly RC planes and RC helicopters and any kind of hobbyist toy within like several miles of an airport. So the FAA, sure, they're concerned that people are going to be using these for commercial means or even just hobbyists. They're going to be all over the place. There's going to be a huge risk to aircraft. Sure, okay, I can see that point. However, like I said, there's already laws that make that illegal. You don't need any more. However, the FAA, and there's the Federal Register, I printed it out, wants to change the law and wants a special rule, and I want you to really listen to what this says. Interpretation of the special rule for model aircraft. So the first question is that a model? I don't think it is. You don't put it together. You build models. However, we'll leave that. What this really gets down to is the FAA wants to make commercial profit of using cameras on RC, or in this case it's Bluetooth, wireless, it doesn't matter. And anyway, it really, I take offense to this because I'm an RC guy and I've been doing RC stuff for a long time, and the FAA has always really been a pain in the ass of hobbyists, period. But it's getting out of control now when you tell me that I can't fly this around, take video footage of it, put it on YouTube, and monetize it. So personally, I call bullshit. What I really think is going on are two things. They're using this, we don't want people to get hurt, and we don't want them to crash into people, and that's already against the law. If you fly one of these at the beach and you run into somebody, you're liable under personal injury. It's already against the law. You can't run one of these into somebody. It's against the law. You can't crash them into somebody's car. Now, granted, it's just a misdemeanor, but you are going to pay penalties, and you are probably, going to be liable to a civil lawsuit. I think they're hiding behind this. We want to protect people for two reasons. One is, if you could make money flying a drone around, they would be everywhere. Now, model RC stuff has been, I would say, cost prohibitive, time prohibitive, but also skill prohibitive. Like, people that fly regular helicopters, RC helicopters around, have nothing but respect from me because I fly really easy to fly planes around and crash them all the time. The guys that do these like crazy tricks with the RC helicopters are just like in a league of their own. And these things make them look bad because these have built-in controls. So especially like the more expensive versions of these, you know, you can have like auto pitch stabilization and, you know, height stabilization, and it knows where it is on GPS, and, you know, they just kind of get out of control. You know, you go a few $100s, like up to $1,000, and you can get basically something a 5-year-old could fly around and not crash. So now the skill element of any of this is gone. So now you just have a bunch of people flying them around. They're going to crash into each other. They're going to annoy people, which is actually my thing I don't like about it. They're going to be a nuisance. They are going to be a hindrance. They're going to look ugly. They're going to be obnoxious, and people are going to abuse them. However, that said, there are already laws that govern abuse of something like this toy. I don't understand why Congress and the FAA feel the need to impose more laws, more restrictions, when this is already covered. Say I was flying this at the beach and I saw a police officer beating somebody, or a submarine going down the middle of Puget Sound. Technically, that video is legal. I was in a public place. I took video of a public happening. I could put that on YouTube. Lots of people do. I could monetize it. I could make money off of it. Now, had I been close enough to take a video with my phone, it would be legal. But if this is around the corner of my house and it happens in my front yard, on my property, the FAA wants to make that illegal. So what do you guys think? Let me know in your comments, or in the comments, what you think. Do you guys have drones? Are you an old school RC hobbyist like me and get pissed off every time somebody calls anything that flies around with a remote control a drone? Do you hate the mass media? Because I sure as hell do every time I read something, even when it's from sites that I respect. You know, they have to use the keywords. They have to use the buzzwords. Okay, guys, that's going to do it for the first episode of Timmy's Tirades. Hopefully you guys got something out of this. It might have just been me standing here babbling away incoherently. However, this is Tim for TimmyTechTV. Keep watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.